What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and a follow-up video to the rudest states video. That's right, we're doing the rudest cities. When I posted the rudest state video, people right away started asking for the city version. Your wish is my command. Actually, it's not my command. Your wish is like a strong suggestion to me. Really, we're in this together. Without all my subscribers, I'm just, I don't know, I guess another one of those channels that's trying to copy what me and Nick Johnson are doing. Today we look at the rudest cities in the United States. A survey was done where they asked 3,400 US residents what city has the rudest people and why. This is just their opinion. There's no real stat to try and gauge how rude someone is, like how many middle fingers do they brandish in a 45-minute commute, or what's the average F-bombs they use while fixing a garbage disposal. It's just their opinion. I also put the same question up on my community tab and to see what you guys thought. And you guys were very close to what the survey found. What I really did find strange that it kind of seems like people are proud of how rude the residents of their city or state are. All right, let's take a look and see what city has the rudest residents. Number 10, San Francisco, California. Now this one kind of shocked me. I've never known San Francisco to be rude. I mean, it's got a truckload of problems. I didn't think people were rude any of the times I've ever been there, and I've been going there for decades. I mean, what happened after the hippies left in the late 60s? Did they just turn rude? Nowadays, a majority of their problem has to do with homelessness, and all the homeless people I've run into there are either kind of struggling with some mental issues, or they're just minding their own business and trying to get by. 10.1% of respondents had San Francisco in their 3 rudest cities. My favorite reason to why they're rude? They're stuck up. Someone actually said that. Actually, a few people said that. I didn't know people said stuck up anymore. Number 9, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is known as the city of brotherly love. Sadly, they don't live up to that nickname. And I can tell you, I've seen some rudeness there. People are kind of rude. 10.4% of the respondents had Philadelphia in their top 3 rudest. The words most often associated with Philadelphia rudeness, they are aggressive bullies. Number 8, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland is another city that can get rude. They're kind of known for it. One blogger said that it gets so bad in Baltimore that the standard everyday problems you run into, like parking disputes, people not letting you merge, well, in normal cities, people just yell at each other, maybe the occasional finger. In Baltimore, you get the finger, you get yelled at, and it's not uncommon to get a death threat or two. Baltimore has almost 600,000 residents with about 3 million in the whole metro area, and by most accounts, about 1/5 of those residents are considered extremely rude. 11% of the respondents had Baltimore as one of their 3 rudest cities. The most common way to describe a Baltimore rude person? Aggressive bully. That's what everyone said, they're aggressive bullies. Number 7, Buffalo, New York. Buffalo is cold and one of the snowiest cities the United States has, and a lot of people think that's why they're so rude. I guess cold weather brings out the rudeness in people. I'm the exact opposite. If I get too hot, I'm a little irritated, and then I get a little rude. So if you see me in Arizona in like August or July, just don't talk to me. Maybe just hand me a popsicle and move on. So a couple years ago, I read this whole thing on New York rudeness and New Jersey rudeness, and this big study they had. One thing that stood out about Buffalo, New York, it just wasn't all about New York City. It also included Buffalo and Rochester, a couple other places. But they talked about in Buffalo, there's this thing where they talk over each other. Like if you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they're irritated, they just talk over you and they're louder and it just keeps building until it's a screaming fest and someone just walks away. And the person that usually walks away is the one that's not rude. The person from Buffalo who's still standing there yelling like an idiot, they feel they've won, but have they? 11.1% of the respondents had Buffalo as one of their top 3 rudest cities. The most common way to describe their rudeness was loud, and my favorite, one person says they're really too dumb to be nice. But the guy who said that's from Canada, so I don't know. Number 6, Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is a strange one. I mean, besides the fact that the city is down to about 1/3 of the population what it was in the 80s. There's hardly anyone there anymore. So I don't know where all this rudeness is coming from. Maybe the people that are left behind are just irritated. Now I say that, and if you ever go to Detroit and you go to downtown, you're going to think everything I said is BS. If you go outside of downtown, which I don't advise, you'll see that the city is falling apart. Now hopefully they're building out and it'll become a great city again. I really do hope that. It is one of our best cities we had. It's not anymore, but maybe someday. but they are rude in Detroit. Again, another cold place. Maybe there is something to that whole cold brings out the rudeness in people. Who knows? 11.6% of the respondents had Detroit as one of their top 3 rudest cities, and the most common description of their rudeness, they're just mean. Number 5, Boston, Massachusetts. Boston's another one of these cities that's kind of known for being rude. This city has been cultivating rudeness since before the Revolutionary War. Think about it. England tried to tax their tea, and the people of Boston got all their colonial homies together and a bunch of Indians, and they basically chased the United Kingdom, or Britain, off the continent. Boston's another place that's big into yelling at each other in traffic. Like New Jersey and New York, they're just big into dropping F-bombs in normal conversation, which to outsiders, this seems kind of rude. 14.9% of the respondents had Boston as one of their 3 rudest cities in the United States. And again, their most common way to describe them, aggressive bullies. Number 4, Chicago. You know, at first I was kind of surprised by this one. Every time I've gone to Chicago, the people have been great. The people I know from Chicago are great. They're just nothing but nice. Then you think how dangerous the south side of Chicago is. And, you know, I mean, when it's dangerous, those people are kind of rude. But then I also started thinking about people I just randomly met in Chicago too. And some of them are kind of rude. Like, they got no time for you. And I guess they're pretty rude. They jumped up 4 percentage points in this. 18.6% of the respondents had Chicago in their top 3 rudest cities. Now, the most common reason for their rudeness was they only care about themselves or they're self-centered. There's a few things along those lines. I think that's just going to be in Chicago. The rest of the state's kind of decent, people-wise. Number 3, Washington, D.C. Now we get to the kind of predictable ones. The last 3 are very predictable. There'll be no surprises the rest of the way through. Washington, D.C. has rude people, and not just the politicians. The average Joe that live in Washington, D.C., they're just straight up rude most of the time. I'm sure a lot of that reputation, though, does come from the traffic. Traffic in Washington, D.C. is horrible. The percentage of respondents that had Washington, D.C. in their top 3 rudest cities, 19.3%. And the most common reason given why they're rude? People are too busy. No time to be nice to each other, I guess. Number 2, Los Angeles, California. Like I had said, the last few are very predictable, and Los Angeles is rude. I grew up there and I can tell you firsthand, most people you run into are very fake, superficial, and rude. I just said in a recent video that stereotypical beach, just mellow California lifestyle, that's a sham. That's really, there's a few people like that, but I'm talking like 2% of Los Angeles' population actually has that whole beach vibe and mellow. A good portion of Los Angeles is very self-centered and really just concerned with themselves and nobody else. 21.7% of the respondents had Los Angeles in their top 3. Now they had a bunch of different reasons, but people are fake was the most common one. One that I did see often was superiority complex was the reason for their rudeness. Thought that was kind of funny. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link down below. Head on over there, check out some videos, subscribe if you like, give some videos big thumbs up, just like you might give this one if you enjoyed it. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, New York, New York. Is anyone surprised at this one? The only thing that I found surprising about this one is New Jersey wasn't at number 1. New Jersey didn't even have a city in the top 15 rudest cities. The entire state's rude, and they win a lot of prizes for, you know, being a rude state, but I guess none of the cities are overly rude. They're just kind of across the board rude. But New York City is so rude, many people believe that this is where the F-bomb and middle finger originated. But New York City rudeness is legendary, and they've got quite the reputation for this, so much so that on this survey, 34.3% of the respondents had New York City as one of their 3 rudest cities. The reasons they give the most often, they're loud, they're aggressive, and they stand too close. That one I've noticed. A lot of people from New York City, Buffalo actually too, they just stand too close when they talk to you. It's kind of weird. All right, that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day. Don't be rude to each other. Be nice to each other.